Okay. Hey, what's up? We're live. It's so funny. It's so funny. Every freaking time. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's some type of construction or something that literally just started as I was hovering over the go live button. And yeah, it's just that's the way it always goes. It's the way it always goes. Hey, what's up? I'm gonna send a tweet real quick and just let people know that we're live. I want to actually check out. I want to see if how do I get this over here? I want to see if this URL works first. Yes, it does. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Perfect. Oh, let me show you the screen. I was hovering cool. Over the go live button, and yeah, it's just that's the way. So okay, cool, perfect. Oh my gosh. So total non sequitur, right? Like with what we're talking about, but YouTube, super cool. I don't know if you use YouTube a lot or have a are creating on YouTube, but YouTube just added handles, which is super neat, and all of the little links totally that work. All of the I don't know what they're called, aliases. Maybe aliases is the right term for that. This is driving me crazy. I'm gonna close the door. Okay. Or window. Ooh, I'm all ghosty. Okay. Yeah, so it's like I swear, literally every time I'm like, I'm gonna record, someone does construction, turns on a leaf blower, whatever. Every time. It's the curse of going live. Anyway, yeah, so if you have a YouTube channel and I think you don't even have to have the 100 subscribers or whatever it is to get the custom URL. If you have a custom URL already, then I think it just uses that. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to tell people on Twitter that we're live. Close this. I'll say this: if you're into music, the new Always album, super good. Super good if you like shoegazy kind of rock type music. Anyway, yeah, check it out. I'd play it now, except you can't do that on YouTube. So, what is up, Arthur? Good to see you. Let's add you to this. Yeah, I'm here for the million. Feeling lucky for the lottery drawing tonight. Yeah, so that actually brings us to like the topic that we're talking about today, which is actually, let me open up a browser again. I can have some demos going on here. So. Okay, so React Advanced is happening this week. It's kind of confusing. So I think the 21st is the live day, and then the 24th is the remote day. And remote from broadcast is the remote day. I will be leaving tomorrow for London, which is very exciting. And then I don't know if they're gonna do this live or whatever, but what do we have me? I think I'm like the 4th talk or something, 5th talk. Really good people. Oh my gosh. Shruti is amazing. Super excited to see her again. David is awesome. Michael Wistrada. We've never actually met in person. We've had a couple React podcast episodes together, but never met in person. So super excited. Gonna be good people all around. I don't know if they're doing this live, they're showing live or anything, but really excited to Maggie Appleton. I mean, come on, Anjana Vakil. It's gonna be awesome. So anyway, super excited about this. I am adapting a talk that I gave earlier this year, which was the component multiverse. So let's see, where is it? Let's go to youtube.com. I think it was at Reactathon component multiverse. This talk is, I think it's pretty good. I like it, but it's a little bit more like focused on the sensation or feeling of front-end web development. And I didn't really, I was talking mostly about the fluffy stuff, and I didn't really get into that point where I was demonstrating what you could do to actually make a robust UI visual regression test suite. And so I want to this time kind of compress the points that I made in that talk into like a really solid intro, but then actually demonstrate all the things using Storybook. So that's what brings us to today. So today, I've identified a handful of things that I would like to demo, and I want to make sure I want to just play through them one time and make sure that they actually make sense in the way that I'm thinking about them, and then kind of see what might take a while and what might get cut. And then from there, I'm hoping to record all of these steps and then make these into like little videos that I insert into my keynote presentation. And hopefully nothing goes wrong and I can actually play the videos and everything works, because I don't actually have a plan B if things don't go right. So we'll see. You know, actually, I didn't really think about that until just now, that it could not go right. And if I really bet on video, I could be screwed if that doesn't work. Anyway, problems for later, Michael. But today, what I figured it would be kind of interesting if you're into Storybook and all that kind of stuff, and you know, visual regression testing, we would just go through this today and go through all these examples, and then I can kind of decide, you know, what works, what doesn't, take some notes, and figure this out. So without further ado, let's just kind of dive into all these things. So I'm gonna go into a let's see, code. Really great start so far. Code, Storybook, and then we'll call this, I'm going to use npx Storybook repro. And that's just going to set us up a Storybook that doesn't actually have need an application. Now, this isn't always necessary. This isn't like a great way to generate a Storybook, but it's a really quick way to generate one without having to first generate an application. So let's make a React one. And then I think that the Vite example of interactive testing is still broken in the repro. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use Webpack React and go from there. So do we want to change this directory? Yes, we'll change this to 1 million first run. Let's go with that. So that's going to do all of its thing. It's going to be yarn install all of the nonsense that we're going to need. Might take a second. Well, while it's doing its thing, let me talk about, let's see. So I've been, I think I mentioned this last time, but I've been using a 2 keyboard setup now that it actually works. 2 Apple keyboards. So I have my laptop right here, and then I have another keyboard here, which is awesome. It used to be the case that if I held Shift on this keyboard and typed a letter on this keyboard, nothing would happen. I think it would just type the letter or something like that. But now you can, and I freaking love this setup, as janky as it looks right now. I love this setup because I'm using an Apple keyboard, which means that all of my kind of like muscle memory around the distance and where keys are and all that kind of stuff is retained when I'm just using the laptop. But I kind of have the more ergonomic setup of kind of being, you know, having my keyboards spread apart, which is awesome. I friggin' love it. And yeah, it's been maybe a month now that I've been doing this, and great. 100% would recommend. Also, see, one thing, I'm going to be really honest here. Like, one thing that is challenging for me about using those cool hyper ergonomic keyboards is that none of them have the like ID thing. And I use this thing all the time. And yes, you can kind of like reach over to your laptop and, you know, press it. But a lot of times when I'm doing the whole fully docked thing, I don't actually use my laptop screen. I'm using the big screen and, you know, something else. And so having that around with a full big gigantic keyboard is, I don't know, not awesome. Anyway, we have our stuff here. It looks like it fully installed. I think that it's saying that we should upgrade. Oh, upgrade npm. Okay, not worried about that. So we're going to jump into this and run yarn storybook. So jump in there. Could probably scale this down a little bit, huh? Trying to put the elements on screen as big as I can. Okay, so with that, we have our storybook. Super cool. Let us see what we can do now for all these points. So one of the first things that I want to communicate to people is this state as story. And so really, this can be as simple as a text text input. Trying to think of how I should keep notes on this. Yeah, I'll just keep appending to this list, I think. Okay, so let's open this in code. Okay, so we have our storybook here, Bing.js, our stories here. Now I wonder, another question that I have is how much of this can we just reuse from this boilerplate storybook? Because I think that sometimes that can be really handy, when you kind of teaching someone something for the first time is just going off of what they would get by default without having touched anything, and kind of building on that. So maybe we'll do that. So the components that we have here are like button, secondary, large, primary, heading, logged in, and then page. Okay, so these are all designed to kind of represent different techniques, which might actually be good for us. So we have, I'm gonna open this bigger and then open the actions panel, which doesn't seem to be working. And I wonder if it's because of, does it think it's a pop-up? Maybe it doesn't work in Safari. Let's check. So let's open up Firefox. Okay, so A should bring on the add-ons panel, and it is not. What are we seeing down here? So go into our console. Interesting. Not sure why none of that's working. It could be reproduction only stuff. Could be a storybook thing. Don't know. Let's do this again. We're going to visit that same story. Okay, so in Chrome, it works. So I'm not exactly sure why that's the case. I guess we'll find out. Let's see. Homie Coder. Hey, first of all, welcome. Good to see you. Glad you're here. It's a crazy idea, but I see someone use an extra keyboard with Mac fingers. Was it finger sensor underneath their desk with Velcro? Interesting. Sorry, it looks like I'm in the way here. Can I turn myself off? I'm playing with Ecamm Live. Oh, there we go. I can turn myself off. So that's really interesting. So the idea, so I would put, if I understand correctly, just kind of tape this under my desk and just fingerprint like that. That's it. Interesting idea. I kind of like that idea. I kind of wish that they had these somehow integrated into a mouse or a trackpad, right? It seems like that's kind of a more natural fit. If you're mousing around anyway, having a trackpad thing. I know that it would kind of destroy the ergonomics of this, but I don't know. I'd like some functionality over the ergonomics, I think. Yes, what's up? What's up? Okay, the Russian Quake setup. I'm not familiar with this. Used to be a keyboard on the lap with duct tape. Interesting. I don't even know what that means. Fill me in. Okay, so now that we can see all of our demos, I'm not sure why those other demos didn't show up. So that's a very curious thing. But so we have all of our stories now. We can see the control panel as it should have been. So I guess first thing I need to keep in mind. Let's get back to Notion. Is that all these demos need to happen in Chrome. So warning. Happen in Chrome because add-ons panel doesn't seem to work. Don't know why. Curious. Also, another thing, I just learned for the first time that like the keyboards, if you just tap the function key, you can hold the function key, which I've done many times, but you can just tap the function key and that brings up the emoji picker. I was doing Alt Shift Space? Is that what? No. Command Shift Space? Nope. Oh man, that's one password. Cancel. Control Shift Space? Now I can't even. Option Control Space? What is it? Now I don't remember. Stupid. This is going well. Okay. So let's see. So what do we have? So I guess one of the things that I really value about stories as tests is this idea of kind of like extreme casing, where you can demonstrate like right away. So like, let's say I put, so a bunch of text, like question is like, where does it break? And like, does it break predictably? All that kind of stuff. Like, what does it look like if we just have a button with one letter? And so I think all that stuff is kind of interesting, and I really enjoy that. I don't know if there's really good examples right off the bat with this. So that's a good question. But I do like possibly using button. Okay, so Option Shift Space. I thought I did that one, but maybe not. Maybe I didn't do it. Control Shift Space. That's the one I didn't do. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay, cool. So like I like the idea of kind of starting with possibly starting with button. So I'm curious if there's like a good example that would justify like a really long, or maybe so I guess an example. Okay, so I'm gonna tinker around with a little bit. So let's open our button stories, and we have these stories, but let's okay, let's add a decorator to this one. I think I can just add it like that. And so it's going to take the story And then we'll do div story. And just put some extra characters in there for now. Okay, so couldn't find story. Because I just duplicated this name. Let's see. So we'll call this kind of. Okay, we still want the size to be small. Okay, cool. So did that work? Let's see. So we click on constrained space. I'm going to open that up. We'll inspect that and see if we got our, so we didn't see our characters. So I think I didn't do this right. Let's look at the docs. Storybook decorators. Okay. Decorators. Okay, that's what I thought. I knew I didn't quite get it right. I thought maybe if I just put a single decorator, it would, mix it in together, but that is not the case. So decorators is an array, and then I kind of like enumerate over the decorators that I want to add. Okay, cool. So that does work. And let's put like a fixed width here. So width equals 40 pixels as a string. And then we'll do border 1 pixel solid purple. Okay, cool. Interesting. So we have this, it's not, because this text can't break, it's not going to, which totally makes sense. So let's make this, let's see, I think if we 3x that should give us enough space. And then change the button label to this text should break given constrained space. Interesting. Okay, cool. I feel like, so maybe this isn't, okay, this should break. Interesting. Okay, cool. So now this does give us this does actually like give us an opportunity to kind of like talk about adding some cases. I don't know if it's like the ideal right here, but I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. You can see a case where you'd want to add to the documentation some things. It gets us into decorators. It gets us into decorators pretty damn quick though. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I'm gonna copy some of this into my Notion document. I'm curious, like, what you think. If we're like kind of like going like right into demonstration, and one of the first things that I want to talk about is stories as state, where we can use stories to kind of like isolate certain like outcomes, I guess, particularly like in a design system, different outcomes. If this seems like kind of like a natural direction, or if there's an example that would make more sense. Don't listen to me anymore. It's so muscle memory. After actually doing it right now, Control Command Space. Okay, cool. Yeah, Control Command Space, and that is one that I did not do. So Control Command Space. There we go. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, just tapping function. Oops, function does the same thing. Just learn that. Which it should have maybe been obvious now that all these keyboards have the little globe on there, which I think is the, like, show me another keyboard, and maybe it's emoji key. Oh, awesome. Okay, so Off topic, I'm totally sold on Storybook. Why do you think it is not more widely used, or people unaware? So this is actually a great question, and kind of goes into, oh, I wish I could break this text up, but it doesn't look like I can. Okay, so I think that's a good question, and I don't have a really good answer for it. So I'm playing with Ecamm Live right now. So I don't have a really good answer for like why Storybook isn't more widely used. I do think that it is maybe more widely used in larger organizations. You can check that out. So we have, if you go to storybookjs.org, and then where is it? Showcase. No, that's not what we want. We want to go to Component Encyclopedia. So if you go to Component Encyclopedia, there's actually a number of pretty big projects and companies that are using it. So there are a lot, but I think that up to this point, oh shoot, you can't see my screen because I'm a dork. So yeah, so if you go to the Storybook showcase, you'll see, and then projects, I think, you'll see a bunch of projects that use this. So everything from GitLab to Shopify to Adobe to like Microsoft, PetSmart, like you name it. Like there's tons and tons of companies using Storybook. Now, the reason that I think, let's see, so I think the challenge that we have is this, is that right now, up to this point, Storybook has been marketed towards design system teams. Now, that's actually a pretty high bar, right? Because like if you have a design systems team, then like you're going to be a pretty damn big organization by the time that you have, a dedicated, 2+ engineers and designers that you can devote to this type of task. Now, that's not really like it's challenging because it's kind of like, I think Storybook's valuable for all manner of things, but when we market to like that, really like big companies are going to be the only companies that have a team like dedicated to that. So I think one of the things that I'm focused on, like the thing that I want to try to communicate, and that's part of what this talk is, I'm hoping to do in this talk, is communicate the value, like if you don't have a design systems team, the value to just a team building a component library. So yeah. And so, and I think like the idea of testing components visually and just kind of embracing that versus like trying to like kind of ham fist it into other tools like just snapshots and whatnot that don't actually run your code in a browser. Yeah, no, I think that this is something that a lot of people don't a lot of people underestimate how much time it's going to cost you to operate a design system and component library. And, a lot of people think like, oh yeah, we'll just put it in a place and then all of a sudden like we're getting kind of like free reuse out of this stuff. And that's really not how it works. These teams are always extremely busy kind of trying to keep the peace and kind of figure out abstractions that work for all of the properties that your application might represent. Okay, so let's get back into Notion. So what have we learned so far? So we can possibly start with button, but then also we have a little bit of a challenge here where it kind of like puts us on the path of decorators, which isn't necessarily a problem. It's I guess maybe like a caution. However, like one of the values is like we don't have to write a new story. So it's kind of a shortcut, right? Yeah. So now I'm wondering like wondering if there's other types of extreme cases that might be valuable here. Um, I can't figure out what I'm doing. Okay, so these are going to be the mobile breakpoints. Yeah, so maybe the in on that is uh, in could be okay. So if we wanted to capture a specific like, so example would be like a CTA, like full width button that wraps on mobile. Um, we could, I think, set the viewport. So let's see. So Storybook JS, we're gonna viewport. I think I mean, there is a way to kind of like programmatically set the viewport. This might actually be a better demo. Okay, so we would just do, I think, oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so which viewports do we have? I think so we have to use the key name, which could be kind of irritating. So responsive, where are the minimal set of viewports? So that's going to be these. Okay, so what do we have? I think minimal viewports. Okay, so we have small mobile. What's the name? Oh, mobile 1, mobile 2, and tablet. Okay, so we can go in here and let's force this to, oops, go back to code. Let's force this to be viewport. I think it's, what was it, mobile 1? I don't think I did that right. Okay, viewports. So we know that those are all in there. How do I set it on a story? Oh, parameters. Okay, I thought these are the args. Okay, I gotta add parameters. Okay, constraint. Oh, nope. Constraint space dot parameters. I'm definitely one of those people who have to like relook everything up literally every time I do anything. Or like borrow from a previously set example. No, that's okay. How do I do it for a single story? Okay, where's my example? Okay, here we go. So that, and then for this story viewport default, that's what I want. Okay, viewport. Okay, I'm just gonna copy it. Okay, viewport, default viewport, and what we're going with here is mobile 1. Okay. Okay, let's do that. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So this does what we need it to do. So we could change the text to this breaks on mobile. Okay, so if we make this larger, that's going to make the text bigger, which is going to make it break sooner, which would be helpful. So let's change our story up. So story, so this is going to be large. And then we can get rid of our decorator. Okay, it doesn't break on mobile yet. What? Where'd it go? Save? Come on. What happened? Why you hate me now? Okay, save. Interesting. I don't know what happened. Let's see. Oh, because I put text in here. I'm gonna have to click off, click back on again, and then refresh. Freaking broke my story somehow. Okay, args. There we go. Super long CTA that breaks on mobile. Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, so, and then let's also make this, let's pull it from the primary style. Okay. So now we have this case. So maybe our in is I can talk about how we can kind of like futz with parameters, and then when we find like an extreme case, like so we'll be playing with button and we'll say like, hey, we have this super long CTA that every word is super important. Oh my gosh, super important. Okay. Sales and marketing teams. Okay, so we know that there's like nothing that we can do to like change this. And so what we want to do is just kind of like test it out on like the various like things that we have. But then we notice that like here on mobile, it kind of like doesn't look super great, but we don't really care. We just want to document that so that we know exactly what we're looking for. So what that would look like is that we would kind of like pull off all of these parameters and kind of create this new story. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty, I think it's a decent example. And it uses what we already have. So I think it's probably a good place to start. So I'm gonna do that. Let's jump back over here. And can I paste this in a block? Yeah, I can place that in the block. Okay, so full width button that wraps on mobile. Okay, I think that's actually a decent place. Okay, so I feel like that's probably a good example. We'll kind of like go from there. Okay, so let's see. So Storybook good rewards good component isolation. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about. So an example that I had for this was kind of talking about like success, error, and error, and loading states as kind of things that you would like independently want to view. I don't have really good examples of that, but maybe we can find some that makes sense. So let's see. So let's jump over to Tailwind UI components. Let's see if they have a 404. They do. Let's see, 404 pages. Do they also have a 500? I guess these are. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, so 404 is all we got. So Okay, so if I do this, I'm gonna have to set up Tailwind, which is probably not a big problem, but something that I will need to do if I want to do this. So let's see. So if I borrow an example, okay. Needs to be set up with Tailwind beforehand. Okay, so okay, so that's fine. Let's not go into that yet. I'll kind of fight that battle a little bit later, because I think that we could probably just build up those stories. So let's make a new. What does it take to make a new kind of stories file for various things? So I feel like we might need something that might be kind of compelling is like a login page. Actually, man, there's a lot of setup for this. Okay, I'm gonna skip this one for now. Okay, let's look at some of the other things. Okay, so we're gonna come back to this. Whoops. Highlight wasn't the one that I wanted. Okay. Okay, so built-in tools. Okay, so this might actually be something that we want to move upwards if we're going to be talking about because it kind of like precedes this. So what's okay? So built-in tools. Let's see. So demo viewports. Okay, cool. That's perfect. That's actually something that we do. Espouse the values. Espouse. What a stupid word I chose. Espouse the value of shared pre-configured tooling. Why we create what's already in the browser, but this isn't automated. Interchromatic. Okay. So one of the things that I liked about having this right here is because then it kind of creates this need for the automation that Chromatic provides. I don't think that that's, I mean, I think that there's ways around that. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So maybe I do build up like a really small Tailwind example. So Tailwind. Okay. Components. Okay, so they have a bunch of components that we can use for free, which is awesome. I think, or my, let's see, I'm logged out, so I should be, anything that we see here should be free to use. I do also have an account, but whatever. So the question is then, like, does it make sense to set up Tailwind as a precursor to this project? I think so, because it really does kind of help me out. I get a lot of stuff for free. So why the hell not? Let's set it up. Let's see. So what's involved in setting Tailwind up in here? I think the demo is going to be better if I do this. So let's figure that out. I'm going to open the window again now that it's not loud. Okay, so let's kill this. I guess this is going to become a setting up Tailwind in a storybook video. Tailwind, nope, not Tailwind UI, Tailwind CSS.com. Okay, get started. Documentation, Tailwind CLI, using post CSS, using Tailwind CSS as a post CSS plugin is the most seamless way to integrate it with build steps like Webpack, Rollup, Vite, and Parcel. Okay, let's see what, so story. Tailwind 3 doesn't work with Storybook Webpack setup. Okay. Close. Okay, so this was a while ago. Okay. Much quicker to help the discussion. Also, just a heads up that Tailwind CSS 3.0 requires Post CSS 8 and no longer supports Post CSS 7. If you can't upgrade to Post CSS 8, we recommend using Tailwind CLI instead of installing Tailwind as a Post CSS plugin. Okay. Didn't work for me. Here's a quick solution. Okay. Okay, this is hairy. Post features. Okay. Tailwind CSS. So install Tailwind CSS. What does these instructions look like? npm install. So we're gonna. These are the post CSS. Okay. As a dev dependency with auto prefixer. npx Tailwind CSS init. So we add our config. Our post CSS config. Yeah, post CSS config. And then what is the Tailwind config? I'm thinking that just running it as a standalone is probably more reliable long term. I don't necessarily need it fully integrated. So the simplest, fastest way to, and I wonder if there's also kind of like a pre-bundled version that I could just load in as even though it's going to be massive, maybe that's a better option for me. I don't think there is though. Let's see. So if I go to any one of these, so application UI, I go to stacked. Does it tell me what I'm gonna need? I don't think so. Okay, so back to installing Tailwind. So let's go with the just kind of like installing Tailwind as a standalone. So we'll just run through these instructions. Let's get my terminal back up. So npx, let's see, what do we have in here? So we just have some of these changes that we made to this button. I think that's probably fine. Let's see, what did we do? I'm gonna grab this though for, I guess, posterity. Paste that in here. All right, so we have an example there if we want to use it. All right, let's get our Tailwind on. Okay, so we added, so git reset hard or, okay. Okay, so button is back to normal. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna install Tailwind. Tailwind is gonna be a precursor to this. So let's see, pre demo setup Tailwind. Okay, let's paste our, whoops, nope. Copy and paste our Tailwind command, npm install d Tailwind CSS, and then we'll use the npx Tailwind CSS init to initialize it. Going to take a second. Of course, everything always takes a second. I know Tailwind is like gigantic. Let's say high severity. Interesting. Let's see if we can run this. So npm audit fix force. A lot of dependency collisions already. This is actually one of the nice things about like in Storybook version 7. There's this pre-bundling concept. So like Storybook doesn't, it's just kind of like it's an isolated thing. All of its dependencies are isolated into this like pre-bundled thing, which is sick because it allows you to not have to worry about compatibility of the things in your project versus the things that Storybook needs with the specific versions and whatnot. All right, I think I'm gonna start taking notes on what that kind of precondition is gonna look like. So we'll use these install instructions. So install Tailwind. So that's what the instructions look like. While it's doing its thing, I will copy these commands so I can paste them or do them later. Remember what worked. Why does it keep doing that? Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, sure, it's fine. MBX Tailwind store or Tailwind CSS init. Create a Tailwind CSS config file. Okay, cool, perfect. Tailwind config. So let's go into Tailwind config. See what we got. Yep, perfect. So contents. What are we gonna look for here? Okay, so we don't want. I think what we're looking for is .stories.jsx. No, anything with JSX. Okay, no problem. Theme, okay, we're not too worried about that. Okay, so add the Tailwind directive for each of your Tailwind layers to your CSS main file. Okay, so do we have a CSS file already? Not a main one. So let's put this in. We don't have a source directory, so I guess we'll just put this in the root for now. I wonder, now I'm wondering if it would have made more sense to start with an application like a next application or something like that. Oh well. So source input.css. Okay, oops, nope. We're gonna copy the Tailwind base, components, and utilities. And what that does is that as this expands, so it's gonna, this is my understanding is that it looks at this content directory, and then anytime we make changes here, it's gonna watch for changes, and then as it detects various things that we can use inside of the like Tailwind API, it's going to resolve these. So like if we take out like components and utilities, now it's not going to have a place to insert those. So we have to use this to like say how we want to insert them. However, we can also just kind of like move these around. Obviously we would want to keep base at the bottom, but you can kind of move things around as needed. I think the order here is intentional in that you have these like base things. Those are going to get overridden by components, but then utilities you really want at the top of the stack because you want those to, like, any place that they're used, override whatever the defaults are. So if you decide to kind of like crunch or expand the spacing in something, you don't want that to get overridden by the kind of, fuller components. You want it to take precedence over the other things. So that's my understanding on why we have that order there. So start the Tailwind build process. So we're gonna copy that. I keep doing that, but I can just copy these. npx Tailwind CSS. So I ended up using the same directory that they have, so I can copy this command without any problems. It's gonna put that output in the dist CSS. Which we have here. And so again, if we look at if we do this, you can see that it just kind of comments that out. And if we just take out the base and the utilities, we're also going to not see anything. And then if we leave just the base in, we'll have that base. So pretty cool. And it's incredibly fast, which is awesome. Okay. Get back to our normal state. Okay, so start using Tailwind in your HTML. Okay, so at this point, I would need to set up Storybook. We have our main and our preview.js files. There's another type of file, preview HTML Storybook, I think is what it is. Preview body. Nope, I want preview head though. Preview head, HTML story rendering, adding a head. Okay, yeah, so we can do this by adding this configuration file. Preview head.html. And then we can add tags like so. So we're gonna grab this, link to the style sheet. Now the thing is, I don't think that file is gonna be served. So what I want to do is in this command, we don't want dist, we want this to be in public. So we're going to save that. And then we need to actually serve a public directory inside of serve a public directory inside of our package JSON. We'll go to our commands here, and then we'll serve public like that. And then this is going to keep building into our public directory. Now we can paste this. That'll be, actually, I think it'll just be available there. We'll find out. So at this point, I need to run that, make sure that it stops. Yep, so we can delete this dist version of this and we'll have the output here, which is great. And then if we open up a new terminal and run Storybook again, so yarn Storybook. Where am I? Oops, yarn Storybook. Okay, this package doesn't seem to be present in your lock file. Run yarn install. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder if I screwed something up when I was trying to do that like force audit fix. Joe, hey, sorry I missed you there. Awesome. Hey, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Glad that you're here. Okay, so with all that installed, this should work again. So Yarn Storybook. Okay, cool. Man, what did I do? Enhanced Resolve. Interesting. Maybe I can't. Oh, okay. So I added this preview HTML file. Maybe that is something that's... Let's see. Put CSS. Okay, so it's also possible to modify the preview head HTML programmatically. Okay, I don't care about that. I just want to add things into it. Okay, serve, build storybook, public. Maybe I need to put a relative path. So cannot find module enhanced resolve lib Node.js. Interesting. Okay, so we're building demos always kind of sucks. Because it's like building apps, which is always kind of challenging. Okay, give me just a second. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Okay, so I'm rethinking this now. And okay, so I'm rethinking this, and like really what I'm trying to get to is I'm trying to get to a place where I have a handful of views to like a handful of views to utilize. But I'm wondering if it makes more sense to install Storybook inside of an application that might already have some views for me to use. So for example, something I've done in the past is Next.js. I know that we, for Chromatic, we actually use Storybook. We use Next.js to like build the server. And so I know there's a lot of really good documentation. Chances are that there's a lot of people using Next.js. And so like to see it being used with Storybook would be good. Since I'm having some trouble here for whatever reason, I'm not totally sure. But I do know that integration works really well. And right now I'm kind of in this weird space where I don't know if this is because of the reproduction environment or what. Let's see. So what time is it? It's almost 3 local time. I have to be somewhere at 4. So let's see how far we can get using using Next. Let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna ask. I know that we have a next integration coming up, and so I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna ask a teammate real quick if that is somewhere where we can kind of install and play it with it. Let's see. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So let's start over. Let's start over. That was fun. Not gonna work. Uh, oh, no, that one's dead. Let's see. Maybe was I already running a storybook? Is that why? Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so we're going to make a new project. We're going to make a new next project. Okay, so let's kind of like, I guess, focus on how we're going to build up this thing. So next is all about their conference right now. Could be hard to actually even find the docs behind all of the stuff. Documentation. Okay, quick start. I don't want any of that. Start the tutorial, deploy a template. No, I want to start the tutorial. So now this is a getting started with next video.